Excelentíssima Senhora Professora Isabel Capelão Gil, magnífica Reitora da Universidade Católica Portuguesa, Senhores Vices-Reitores que estão aqui presentes, Senhora Diretora da Faculdade de Teologia e Senhor Diretor do CITER, Professora Ana Jorge e o Professor Alexandre Paulo. Permitam também uma saudação ao Sr. Dom António Montes, Bispo Emérito, ao Professor Peter Stewell, que também está aqui conosco e é diretor do Departamento das Relações Ecuménicas e do Diálogo Interreligioso. Uma saudação muito carinhosa e calorosa ao excelentíssimo Sr. Rabino Ruben Suiza, Rabino da Sinagoga de Lisboa, Sha'arei Tikvah, Sr. Presidente da ALPI, Dr. João Guilherme Nobre Prata Fragoso Rebelo, digníssimos membros também dos órgãos da direção e dos órgãos sociais da ALPI, uma associação de amigos que procura a amizade entre Portugal e Israel, o professor Gil Alves Peçanha Alcoforado, reitor do Instituto Universitário Egas Muniz, o Dr. Eduardo Silva Rosa, até há bem pouco tempo diretor do Museu Maat, a Isabel Santiago Rodrigues. Excelentíssima Senhora também juíza, conselheira do Supremo Tribunal de Justiça, que está aqui conosco, Leonor Furtado. A doutora Esther Mutsnik, que está online e que nos acompanha, membro da direção da CIL, fundadora e atual presidente da Associação Mem Shoah, do ensino do Holocausto, Memória e Ensino do Holocausto, membro da Comissão de Liberdade Religiosa, coordenadora da Comissão Instaladora do Museu Judaico Tikvah de Lisboa e membro também da coordenação do Fórum Abrâmico de Portugal, uma associação filiada no Three Faiths Forum e, sobretudo, uma amiga de longa data da Faculdade de Teologia. E neste sentido, uma saudação também muito particular à Ana Araújo, que também está aqui conosco, é o rosto da CIL mais recente que os alunos da Faculdade de Teologia conhecem e escutam na sua visita à sinagoga. Senhora Mónica Benveniste, ilustre benemérita da Cátedra de Estudos Sefarditas, Alberto Benveniste, da Universidade de Lisboa. Senhores professores da Faculdade de Teologia e senhores professores de outras unidades da OCP, dentre os quais também gostaria de distinguir duas pessoas que me ajudaram muito nesta cátedra, a professora Celina Cassis Moedas e a professora Teresa Bartolomei. Queridos alunos da Faculdade de Teologia, aqui representados num pequeno grupo e todos os restantes que nos estão a acompanhar na sessão online, uma saudação ao professor César Silva e ao professor David Palatino, que aqui representam a geração mais jovem de Biblical Scholars e que estão a chegar à Faculdade de Teologia. Também uma saudação amiga ao professor Mário Sousa, presidente da Associação Bíblica Portuguesa, e a todos os biblistas, membros desta associação. A great welcome to Professora Ami Gilevine e Professor Etienne Vetot. Thank you for being with us. Together with all the persons here present, be sure that we value and we precious your online presence. E a todos vós aqui presentes e a todos os que estão online, uma saudação muito calorosa. Eu vou passar agora à língua inglesa para podermos dar toda a dimensão também de internacionalidade, com todos os que também de língua inglesa nos estão a acompanhar nesta sessão. Aware of the need to strengthen the interreligious dialogue as a contribution to peace and the decisive role of the theological training and research, the share of Jewish and Christian Bible studies that we present to you today intends to serve as an academic scientific contribution to the process of mutual knowledge and collaboration between Judaism and Christianity. Although the study of the Bible is old as the text itself, historically produced as ongoing rewriting in light of the reception and interpretation of previous oral and written traditions, its joint study by academics, Jews and Christians, is quite recent. For many centuries, instead of being considered a common heritage, biblical texts were seen as a source of division and invalidation of the respective descriptive traditions. This mutual exclusion resulted in the waste of precious parallel hermeneutical resources. Aiming to move from exclusivist approach to the paradigm of dialogue and mutual learning in the field of the academic study of the scriptures, this share wishes to represent a crucial step forward in the depth and the enrichment of the understanding of the matrix texts of the Western traditions, humanizing the self-understanding of the civilizations rooted in them by liberating them of prejudices, misunderstandings, and distortions. The establishment of a scientific partnerships between institutions and researchers of an interreligious, intercultural, and interdisciplinary nature is a fundamental component of this process. In this sense, this share presents itself as an innovative proposal inspired by the work already initiated and developed by recognized institutions in this area, such as the Cardinal Bea Center for the Jewish Studies at the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome, whose standards is necessary to disseminate, and the ICCG, International Council of Christians and Jews, a platform that serves as the umbrella organization of 40 national Jewish Christian organizations worldwide, both institutions with whom we already are in contact. Open to a polysemy of Jewish and Christian voices and internationally accredited from a scientific point of view, this share aims to foster a joint understanding of biblical sources and the cultures inscribed in them, to deconstruct and deactivate a sectarian reception, and to promote an objective reconstruction of the respective differences, to expand and promote public debate and scientific research on this legacy, to create innovative thinking and cutting-edge research with a particular focus on the impact of reading the Bible on the Western cultural tradition, to implement the method of dialogic confrontation in exegetical teaching by fostering the historical and theological awareness of what has existed and still exists as fractured lines in the dialogue. And finally, to promote areas of communion that are inscribed in the biblical text, activating in the academy, especially in the Faculty of Theology, the study of sacred scripture as a moment of spiritual self-recognition and not as a simple curricular knowledge. As you may conclude, to accept the direction of such project is an important and a great challenge. I am entirely aware of that. Actually, when in 1994, during my studies at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, I was invited by the famous professor Avi Horvitz to do a joint reading with a Jewish colleague on the text Proverbs 31, the famous poem of Eshet Chayil. I couldn't imagine that the impact of this experience would mark my entire life as a biblical researcher and as a Bible professor. It remains even today a call that encouraged me to assume the urgency and the importance of this joint reading as a precondition for an authentic dialogue and a solid relationship between Judaism and Christianity. Across the years, this experience and this call have been strengthened and confirmed by an attentive listening to the voices of the magisterium of the Church and of the Judaism expressed in several documents. In fact, it is impossible to think this share without the words of the remarkable Vatican II document Nostra Aetate, that assigns the decisive new direction in the way Christianity should think and act towards Judaism. And I quote, "Since the spiritual patrimony common to Christians and Jews is thus so great, this sacred concilium wants us to foster and recommend that mutual understanding and respect, which is the fruit, above all, of biblical and theological studies as well as of fraternal dialogue." Some years later, these words were reinforced by another important document, Guidelines and Suggestions for Implementing the Conciliar Declaration Nostra Aetate. And I quote, "Research into the problems bearing on Judaism and Jewish-Christian relations will be encouraged among specialists, particularly in the fields of exegesis, theology, history of sociology. Higher institutions of Catholic research, in association, if possible, with other similar Christian institutions and experts, are invited to contribute to the solution of such problems. And wherever possible, shares of Jewish studies will be created, and collaboration with Jewish scholars encouraged." As I said, this share is also strongly encouraged by the words of important Jewish documents. One is the document of Dabru Emet, Speak the Truth, a statement written by more than 170 Jewish scholars in September 2000, where we find these words: "In recent years, there has been an intense and unprecedented shift in Jewish and Christian relations. We believe this change merits a thoughtful Jewish response. Speaking only for ourselves, an interdenominational group of Jewish scholars, we believe it is time for Jews to learn about the efforts of Christians to honor Judaism. We believe it is time for Jews to reflect on what Judaism may now say about Christianity." When another significant document was written by AGC, Global Jewish Advocacy, and I quote, "Catholic-Jewish relations have reached a previously unimaginable golden age that could not possibly have happened without the follow-up of a successive post-Nostra Aetate generations. The Catholic Church expanded upon Nostra Aetate with the pronouncements, guidelines, and establishment of departments and human resources to expand the sentiments of Nostra Aetate into a living reality. AGC, other Jewish organizations, and the Jewish people readily responded to the extended hand of the Catholic Church and created vehicles for guaranteeing the accomplishments of Nostra Aetate. Together, Catholics and Jews developed and sustained academic institutions of inquiry and interreligious dialogue to ensure the permanence of the Catholic Jewish transformation internationally, nationally, and regionally. The many symposiums and scientific studies that have been produced since then show how these words were taken seriously. An extraordinary example is the amazing publication, The Jewish Annotated New Testament. I could show you some. This is like this book. That encompasses the collaboration of 50 scholars, Jewish and Christians. I could give to you a long list of many other important publications. They came out from joint deep debates, because this joint reading requires the ability of deep listening, a dialogue able to deal with challenge for both Jews and Christians. Involves an expertise to inscribe the scientific research into a wider horizon, common to Jews and Christians. And in our time, Nostra Aetate is more than time to move forward and to respond effectively. I'm strongly convinced that within the context of such a horizon, this share has a great potential to be an excellent contribution to the Jewish-Christian dialogue, but also to the remarkable project of Católica University of Portugal, a great university energized by the ultimate goal of using science to build a better world and foster a dignified life for all, balancing scientific ambition with social responsibility, laboring not for the profit of the few, but for the good of humanity. It is in this sense that I feel deeply the challenge, but I am also very honored to assume the direction of this share. I do it entirely rooted in the mission of Católica University, but also in continuity with all the generations of professors to whom the Faculty of Theology was a venture under construction, a scientific laboratory of the prophetic voice of the Church in its interaction with the world. I look forward to seeing some of you in the upcoming events we are already planning. Believe with us in the power of a reliable knowledge and through dialogue as the most solid builders of humanity and peace. Thank you.